Yes, good afternoon, students. This is CA Rajeev Sachdeva here, your mentor for the session. Please remember, in last lectures, few lectures I have delivered in respect of company audit. Today I will be covering section 143 of the Companies Act 2013. So last lectures, I may brief you at this stage. In last lectures, I have told you how to study law. In every lecture, I am telling you how to study law, along with examples, how to prepare brief notes, how to attempt the question belonging to law, and all that I am explaining to you. I am explaining to you basically how to study law, how to prepare law related questions in respect of auditing. So in this lecture also, this may be the last lecture on the company audit. I will also explain in this lecture also how to study law, how to attempt law related questions in the examination. So you should basically concentrate, focus on the techniques which I have been telling you to study law, and then apply those techniques to other sections as well. You can also apply those techniques to other laws also, other portions of the Companies Act, income tax law, or other law. You can apply those techniques. So study of law basically is very interesting. So if you study in a sequential manner, it will become interesting. So moving to my PPT, I first read out the disclaimer. Yes, students, you are advised to refer to institute study material and other relevant legislations. You may refer for latest provisions, amendments required for your examination. In each lecture, you have been asking what is the syllabus, what are the guidelines. So in each lecture I am telling you this relevant part, that so far as the law acts are concerned, or notifications, circulars, rules are concerned, guidelines by regulating authorities, cutoff date is 31st October 2015. All amendments which have been made up to 31st October will be applicable for your examination. Caro is very much applicable. It was applicable in last examination also. It is also applicable in this examination as well. Essays, so far essays are concerned, essay up to essay 720. Essay 200 series, 300, 400, 500, 600 series, up to 720 essays you need to study. List of pronouncements is already hosted on the website. You may refer the list of pronouncements for details. In each lecture, I am telling you how to study basically. And I also am telling you the techniques by adopting which you can study well. You can study and get more marks in the examination. You can improve your marks also. So my first strategy, this CA examination is a strategic examination. You need a specific strategy for that. And strategy, why you need a strategy is because you get lesser time for preparation. And if I have got lesser time for preparation for the examination, then definitely I would need strategy. In earlier classes, please remember, from class say 1st to 12th, you studied for 1 year complete for every class. 1 year complete for 9th class, 1 year then 10th class, 11th class, 12th class, 6th, 7th. In every class you studied for 1 year. If I count one group as one class, then you should study for 1 year. But practically you do not study for 1 year, you study for 4 months. If you study for 3-4 months or say 5 months, then you need a specific strategy for your preparations. So you must prepare some strategy. So this is a part of strategy I am discussing. Learning is very much required for CA examination. So far as theoretical papers are concerned, learning is very important. I emphasize on learning because examiner will check what you have written. So it will not matter if you have knowledge, but if you are not able to express, you may not answer well. So you would be able to express very well if you concentrate on learning. First of all, learn, build a reserve, and then come out with the material. This is the strategy, basically, learning strategy. So learning, of course, is a tough exercise. So far as law is concerned, learning is very much required, I tell you. Otherwise, you cannot write in the examination. So my technique, what I am suggesting to you is 4 times learning, at least 4 times learning. Say, if I have learned section 139 subsection 1 on a particular day, say today, on 1st March, I just learned section 131, but 139 subsection 1 and section 139 subsection 2. These 2 sections I learn on 1st March. Students, my learning will not be complete in one instance. So I need to revise this same on next day, very next day, on 2nd March. Then again revise these section 139 subsection 1 and 2. And of course you learn the new material on 2nd March. But you must revise on 2nd March. And then after 1 week on 9th March, again revise section 139, 1 and 2. And then after 1 month, on 8th April, again revise. This is 4 times learning. If you learn for 4 times, believe me, section number, content of the section, entire thing will be cemented in your mind, will get cemented in your mind. And you will remember, you will astonish that it will become part of your permanent memory. Like ABC. Like ABC, you can you can come out with the ABC at any moment of time. You need not learn, revise. So like that, these sections will become permanent part of your memory. So this is my strategy to learn the law. Do not think learning is cramming. Because why learning is not cramming? Because I learn only after I have understood the whole concept. So this is called a sequential learning, I can say, constructive learning. So this will help you in building a strong conceptual base. I should say database. Entire this will become reservoir. This will become a strong, say, database with the help of which you can perform very well in the examination. So entire company audit, I have been stressing on learning. I have taken 4 or 5 lectures, I think. So in each lecture I am stressing on learning. Students, you must learn. So far as law related questions are there, how to handle law related questions. We have been receiving queries from your side. How to handle, how to write law related questions. I have been answering in every lecture. So provisions of the company audit, as I have already told you, need constructive learning. Try to understand the intention of the, while studying the law, try to go after the intention of the law. Learning, understanding will be easy, and consequently learning will become easy. So please understand what the lawmakers wanted to convey, what the lawmakers had the intention to convey. So that is the intention of the law. So basic intention of the law, it should not be missing while you answer your questions. This is very important. Now I move to online queries, if any. Yes, Monica is asking, what is test audit as per section 143(7) of the Companies Act? I will explain when I will be there. So supplementary, also Monica Gupta is also asking, what is supplementary audit? Yes, I will be explaining what is supplementary audit. Now I move back to my PPT. Now what you have learned, just translate your knowledge into brief notes. You may also prepare diagrams, flow charts, and this brief notes, diagrams will save your time, will save you effort at the time of examination. Now some students have raised queries through mail. What are the applicable changes to auditing for May 16 examination? I have already explained. You may refer list of pronouncements, which is very well hosted on the website. How to prepare essays, I will explain in next lecture. How to prepare revision notes. Revision notes I have been explaining in each and every lecture. How to prepare, will tell you also in this lecture. How to present answers, I am telling in every lecture. So students, this how to present, this is very much explained in practice manual. If you go through practice manual, compilation, just do the chapter and then go through practice manual, then go to compilation. So you will come to know how to present. These are written by us only. So if you are able to gather, and then convey 50% of what is written in the suggested answers, so that is the way of presentation in the examination. Through suggested answers, we have explained how to present answers in the examination. So you should study practice manual as well as compilation. Through compilation, you will come to know when the question has appeared in your examination. Otherwise, there is no difference in compilation and practice manual. September 2000, student is asking, will September 2014 edition of the study material be sufficient for studying company audit? Yes, students, you need to study July 15 edition of the study material for May 16 examination. This will not be sufficient. This will not be enough. So, what type of questions may be asked from Caro? I will explain to you the kind of questions you may be asked from Caro when I will explain Caro. Now, coming to section 143 of the Companies Act 2013, that is powers and duties of auditors and auditing standards. Section 143 subsection 1, this is right to access books of accounts. The auditor of a company at all times, very important, the auditor of a company at all times, he has this right, shall have a right, what right? Right of access to books of account and vouchers of the company. The auditor of a company at all times shall have a right of, there are two rights, right of access to the books of account and vouchers of the company. He has the right on two things, right of access to books of account and vouchers of the company. Whether they are kept at the registered office of the company or at any other place. Whether these are kept at registered office or at any other place. And also, he shall be entitled to require from the officers of the company such information. This is the second point. First point is right of access to books of accounts and vouchers. Second is he has a right to get the information. So this is how you can prepare the brief notes. So right of access to the books of accounts and vouchers of the company. And second is right of information from the officers of the company. So this is how brief notes may be prepared. I again repeat, the auditor of a company shall have a right of access to the books of account and vouchers of. This is the first right he is having. And second right is right to get the information. Right to get the information from the officers. So these are the brief notes. Right to books and vouchers, and also information, right to get, and also get information from officers. So this is how I have prepared the brief notes. So learn the techniques, how we can prepare, devise your techniques also. This is not hard and fast, I am telling you. So brief notes help you out at the time of examination. It is the duty 143(1) continued. It is the duty of auditor to inquire into the following matters. Very important, students, to inquire into the following matters. These are inquiries an auditor is making. So he is not bound to report on this. These are the inquiries. He is not bound to report. He is not required to state. There is difference between inquiry and state. Here we are not asking him to state. If I ask him to state, then it is compulsory for him to report on this. Then it becomes compulsion to report on this. But here we are asking him to inquire into the following matters. So duty of the auditor to inquire into the following matters. First point, students, 143(1)(a). Whether loans and advances made by the company on the basis of security. Here, please remember, loans and advances made by the company on the basis of security we are talking. Whether loans and advances made by the company on the basis of security, whether they have been properly secured. Whether they have been properly secured, it may be possible that loans granted on the loan has been done on the basis of the security, but the security is not proper, but the security is not sufficient. It may so happen I have made a loan of say 7 crores, but the value of the security is 5 crores. So if such thing is there, then I need to report. So whether loans and advances made by the company on the basis of security have been properly secured, and whether the terms and conditions on which they have been granted are prejudicial to the interest of the company, are against the interest of the company. Prejudicial means against, to the dislike of. Whether the terms on which they have been made are prejudicial to the interest of the company or its members. So this is how you should study the law. You should study very slowly, learn it, and then revise 3 revisions. It will get cemented, I can assure you, along with the section number. Second point, B point, 143, 1B. Whether transactions of the company which are represented merely by book entries, which are only book entries. What are book entries? Say there is one creditor. If I am debiting the creditor's account and crediting the debtor's account, if I am debiting the creditor's account and one of my creditors and crediting the debtor's account, then this is merely a book entry. So auditor needs to inquire whenever he comes across with a book entry. He should inquire whether it is prejudicial to the interest of the company, whether it is against the interest of the company. This is the inquiry he has to make. So now I move to point number C, where the company not being an investment company or a banking company, these companies are excluded. Whether so much of the assets of the company consists of shares, debentures, means where the company, in case of a company, just exclude these companies, investment and banking company. Means in case of a company, whether shares, debentures and other securities have been sold at less than purchase price. Whether have been sold at less than purchase price. So this is how you can prepare the brief notes. So in case companies having shares, debentures, securities, these are we are talking, whether they are sold at a price less than purchase price. So banking company and investment company are excluded except these. B point, 143 subsection 1 subsection D. Whether loans and advances made by the company have been shown as deposits. Whether loans and advances have been shown as deposits. E point is whether personal expenses have been charged to revenue account. So students, important point, personal expenses should not be debited to. Whether if they are debited to, have been charged to revenue account, then auditor has to report if these are there. Otherwise he has to make these inquiries, I tell you. So personal expenses may be any expenses. So generally these expenses you can find out from the details of credit cards. If you come across the details of credit card, you may see personal expenses which have been debited, which are debited to the company accounts, revenue accounts. So where it is stated in the books and documents of the company that any shares have been allotted for cash. If shares are allotted for cash, whether cash has actually been received in respect of such allotment, and if no cash has been received, whether the position as stated in the account books and the balance sheet is correct, regular and not misleading. So this is in case where it is stated in the books and documents of the company that any shares have been allotted for cash. So if the shares have been allotted for cash, whether cash has actually been received in respect of such allotment, if no cash has been so received, whether position as stated in the account books and the balance sheet is correct, regular and not misleading. This is if that is there. If the position is not correct, regular and misleading, then I need to report. Otherwise, this is a simple inquiry. Now coming to section 143 subsection 2. Before I move ahead, I move to online queries, if any. Yes, Johan JJ is asking, discuss the recognition principle of contingent liability. We'll definitely discuss in the lecture. In my next lecture, I will explain, or another subsequent lecture. But in this lecture, I am going to cover 143.1 only. 143, section 143 complete. Who is a retiring auditor? I have already explained. This is Mundi Meda Bhargavi is asking. Pawan is asking, sir, I am November 14 attempt batch. Is that study material sufficient for May 16? No. You need to study July 15 edition for May 16 examination. You need to check the edition of the study material. Provisions for removal of auditor. Johan is asking, provision for removal of auditor before expiry of term has already been explained in the earlier lecture. So these lectures would be made available to you. So you should be in touch with the institute. So these lectures will be, earlier lectures will be made available to you. Please get in touch. Now I move to PPT part. Section 143 subsection 2, reporting to the members of the company. The auditor shall make a report to the members of the company on the accounts examined by him and on every financial statements which are required by or under this act to be laid before the company general meeting. Auditor shall make a report to the members of the company on the accounts examined by him. Naturally, whatever I have examined for audit purpose, what I should examine the accounts. So I shall make a report to the members of the company on the accounts examined by me and on every financial statement. Plus, I will check out what are the legal requirements I should comply with. What are the requirements of if I am auditing a company. So what are the requirements which are required to be complied with in respect of the Companies Act? What are the compliance as stated in the Companies Act? So I will have to report on every financial statement which is required by this act or under this act to be laid before the company general meeting. So this report shall, after taking into account the provisions of this act, the accounting and auditing standards, what now I have to report on the accounts and on every financial statement. How I will report? This report shall be prepared after taking into account the provisions of this Companies Act. the accounting and auditing standards. After considering these all things, after considering the provisions of the Companies Act, after considering the accounting standards, after considering the auditing standards, and matters which are required to be included in the auditor report under the provisions of this act, and matters which are required to be included in the auditor report. So what are the points? This is how you can prepare the notes. So the report shall be prepared after taking into account the provisions of the act. Number 1, provisions of the act. Number 1, provisions of the act. And number 2, second point is accounting standards. Accounting standards. Number 3, auditing standards. So report which I am preparing, it will be after taking into account the provisions of the Companies Act, accounting standards, auditing standards, fourth point, and matters which are required to be included in the audit report. Matters required to be included in audit report. So this is how I am preparing the notes. The report shall, after taking into account provisions of the Companies Act, accounting standards, after taking into account auditing standards, and matters which are required to be included in the audit report under the provisions of this act, or any rules made thereunder, or in any order under this section, and to the best of information and knowledge. The said accounts, on the basis of these 4 things, what I am going to report, that the said accounts, financial statements give a true and fair view. That the accounts give a true and fair view. So on the basis of these 4 things, provisions of the Companies Act, accounting standards, auditing standards, and matters required to be included in the audit report, what I am stating, I am stating that the said accounts, financial statements which I have examined, they exhibit a fair, true and fair view of the state of the affairs of the company, and at the end of the financial year, and profit or loss and cash flow for the year, and such other matters as may be prescribed. So I am expressing basically true and fair view on the accounts and financial statements of the company. So this is how you need to study. Students, I am telling you again and again, I am telling you, I am not going to teach you basically. I am telling you how you should study the law. This technique, this procedure you should apply while studying the other laws also. And also other provisions of the Companies Act. Apply the same technique. So you will be able to learn, you will be able to retain, just learn slowly. Prepare brief notes simultaneously. So and learn 4 times, learning strategies. Then entire thing will get settled in your mind, will get cemented in your mind. So once it becomes permanent part of your memory, things will not be difficult, I can assure you. Now auditor's report 143, coming further to section 143 subsection 3, auditor's report to state whether he has sought and obtained all the information and explanation which to the best of his knowledge and belief were necessary for the purpose of his audit, and if not, the details thereof and the effect of such information on the financial statements. Now, here important thing, difference between section 143 subsection 1 and 143(3). Here the auditors report to state, and 143(1) he was to inquire. So there is difference between inquiry and statement. So there he has to state. He cannot escape here. He will have to state. Point number A, whether he has sought and obtained all the information and explanation which to the best of his knowledge and belief were necessary for the purpose of his audit. Whether he has obtained all the information. All the information which is necessary for the purpose of audit. Whether he has obtained all the information necessary for the purpose of audit of his audit. And if not, if I have not obtained the information and explanation which to the best of my knowledge and belief was necessary for the purpose of audit, and if not, important, then I need to state here the details thereof. I will have to give the details thereof. Thereof means about those matters about which I am unable to get the information and explanation which to the best of my knowledge and belief was necessary for the purpose of my audit. If I am not able to gather that information, then I need to give the details of those matters. And also I will have to tell in the report the effect of such information on the financial statement, that what impact it will lay on the such information. Having not obtained such information from the officers of the company, what impact it will have on the financial statement, this I need to elaborate. So auditor's report to state, he will have to state clearly that whether I have obtained information and explanation which is necessary for the purpose of my audit, and if I have not obtained, then I need to explain the impact of such information on the financial statements. This is 143(3)(a). So I have to state clearly. B point is whether in his opinion, this I need to report. This is compulsory to state. These points are, this is not the inquiries, please remember, these I need to compulsory state. Whether in my opinion, in his opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the company. So first point is whether I have obtained the information which is necessary. Second is proper books of accounts have been prepared by the company, have been kept by the company, and proper returns adequate for the purpose of his audit have been received from the branches which are not visited by me. So whether proper books of accounts as required by law have been kept by the company, and also proper returns, books and proper returns have been received from the branches which I was unable to visit. So this is important. This is in respect of company and its branches also. So whether proper books of accounts have been kept, this is the point. In brief, you can state whether proper books of accounts have been kept. This auditor has to report. So at this stage, you may note that you are able to learn how to prepare brief notes also. Whether he has obtained all the information, first point over. Whether proper books of accounts have been kept, second point is over. Third point. C. Whether the report on the accounts of any branch office of the company audited under subsection 8 by a person other than the company's auditor. Here, if the branch office is audited by a person who is not a company auditor, means other than the company auditor, whether that report has been sent to him and the manner in which he has dealt with while preparing his report, and how I have dealt with that report while preparing a report, final report which I have given to the company, how I have dealt with the branch auditors report, where in case the branch auditor is not the same as the company's auditor, he is a different person. Now I move to online queries, if any. Yes, Guhan Shiv Kumar is asking, what does prejudicial to the interest of the company mean? Prejudicial means, the word prejudicial means to the dislike of, means against the interest of the company. Prejudicial means against. So, prejudicial means to the dislike of, against. Yes, Soumya Murli is asking, how do we present answers in general? Yes, this is an interesting question. But right now I am telling you how to answer law related questions. In next lecture, I will definitely be telling you how to answer a general question. But how do we present? This is very much explained in practice manual and compilation. Students, you should go through practice manual and compilation. So while studying that, first go through the chapter and then move to the practice manual and compilation. By studying that, you will come to know how to present answers. And if you are able to make out 60%, 60-70% of what is written in the suggested answer, I think you will score good marks. Yes, Bhargavi is asking, I have missed your session which explained retiring auditors, so please explain once again. So this my recorded lectures would be available. You please get in touch with the institute. Yes, moving to my PPT part. Section 143, 3C. Whether the report on the accounts of any branch office of the company audited under subsection 8 by a person who is other than the company's auditor, whether that report has been sent to him and the manner in which he has dealt with while preparing the report. The D point. Whether the company's balance sheet and profit and loss account dealt with in the report, whether they are in agreement with the books of account and returns, whether the company's balance sheet and P&L account, they are in agreement with the books of account. This is very important. Means you need to verify check each and every item which is appearing in the balance sheet and P&L account. Just trace those entries. This is very important point, students. Just trace those entries which are written in the balance sheet and P&L account. Trace those entries in the books of accounts. Go to books of accounts of the company, open the relevant account and see the total, whether it is matching or not, whether they are in agreement or not. You need to check each and every item which is appearing in the balance sheet and P&L account. And if there are differences, I cannot say that they are in agreement with the books of account. Then I need to reconcile how the figures have been carried to the balance sheet and P&L account. Sometimes there are adjustment entries. Then whether adjustment entries have been passed in the books of account. This is another pertinent question. So in each and every case, students, you need to state clearly whether the company's balance sheet and P&L account dealt with in the report are in agreement with the books of account and returns. So this should be in agreement, I tell you. This is a very important point. Whether in his opinion, the financial statements comply with the accounting standards. So this is I am stating as an auditor. So here I need to have the knowledge of accounting standards which are applicable to the company I am auditing. So here I am expressing my opinion whether the financial statements are in compliance with the accounting standards. So here the knowledge of the accounting standards is required also. (143.3)(f), very important. We have also come out with the guidance note on section 143.3(f) and H clause. So what is section 143.3(f)? The observations or comments of the auditor on financial transactions or matters which have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. So this is section 143.3(f). Observations or comments of the auditors on financial transactions or matters which have any adverse effect on the functioning of the. Please remember here, for clarification, I am telling you that my observations as an auditor, my comments as an auditor on financial transaction or matters per se do not have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. My observation will not, or comments, my observations or comments will never have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. But the transaction, or it is the transaction or matters which have, it is the transaction or matters which will have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. So if I come to know certain transactions, financial transactions or financial matters which have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company, then I need to give my observations or comments as an auditor on such transactions or on such matters. Matters will have, such financial transactions or matters will have adverse effect on the functioning of the company. My comments as an auditor will not have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. So this is very important point I am discussing, and you should understand that in the manner I am explaining to you, that my observations or comments on those transactions, my observations or comments per se will not have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. Rather, it is the matters or financial transactions which will have adverse effect on the functioning. I am just giving my observations or comments on those financial transactions or those matters. 143.3 G clause is whether any director is disqualified, whether any here direct is written, it should be director, whether any director is disqualified from being appointed as a director under subsection 2 of the section 164. So this is the point and need not any elaboration. 143.3H, another important point. Any qualification, reservation or adverse remark relating to the maintenance of accounts and other matters connected therewith. So here, students, if there is any qualification or any reservation or any adverse remark, but please remember, this must be related to the maintenance of accounts and other matters, connected matters. So if there is any qualification, reservation or adverse remark relating to these, means maintenance of accounts and other matters, then I will have to state here. So these are, again I am telling you, I need to compulsorily report on these matters. These I require to state. 143.3, I have already explained you that auditor has to compulsorily state, and here he has not to inquire. So he should compulsorily state here that if there is no qualification, so he will say that there is no qualification, reservation, adverse remark relating to maintenance of accounts. He will have to say that, because there is no option. I am not making an inquiry. 143.3I. This is again an easy point. Whether the company has adequate internal financial control system, whether the company has adequate internal financial control system in place, and the operating effectiveness of such controls. So internal financial control system in place. This I have to report. If I am reporting, so please remember I should have the knowledge of the company's internal financial control system, which is in place at the company's, you see, which is in place, very much in place, internal financial control system in place, which is means which is operating at the company's place, and the operating effectiveness. Further, I am reporting operating effectiveness of such controls. Whether the controls, it means whether the controls, internal financial controls which are there in the systems may be in place, but again I am commenting on the operating effectiveness of such controls, whether they are operating or not. So here very important point, 143.3I is on, there are two things, whether the company has adequate internal financial control system in place. So whether they are adequate or not, this is again a tough question to be decided by the auditor. How the auditor will come to know whether the company has adequate internal financial control system in place? So this is again a subjective sort of thing. It may not be easy task for the auditor to report on this. So whether the company has adequate internal financial control system, and secondly, operating effectiveness. Again, you need to check that those internal financial controls which are adequate definitely, and whether they are operating or not. So this is a tough proposition, I tell you, for the auditor. And such other matters as may be prescribed. Such other matters as may be prescribed. So I explained to you, such other matters are explained in the rules. Rule 11. Such other matters, students, have been explained in Rule 11 of the Company Auditors Rules and Rule 11 of the Company's Audit and Auditors Rules 2014 prescribe the other matters to be included in auditor's report. Point number 1. Whether the company has disclosed the impact of pending litigation. This is in respect of pending litigation on its financial position in its financial statements. So this is the point, whether the company has disclosed. Again, these are the points, these are the compulsory. He is bound to state. Here there is no option. 143.3 is mandatory reporting. He needs to state whether the company has disclosed the impact of pending litigation on its financial position in its financial statement. Second is on provision, whether the company has made provision as required under any law, accounting standard. Right? So here the company, first point is pending litigations, second is whether the company has made provision as required under any law or under accounting standards, etc. And third point is whether there has been any delay in transferring amounts to the investor education and protection fund. If the company is required to transfer the amount, a certain amount, to the investor education and protection fund, whether there has been any delay in that, so he need to explain. If there is no delay, then he will state there is no delay. Means explaining these points are compulsory, mandatory to be stated by the auditor. There is no option. He cannot escape these points. The first point is pending litigation, second point is provision, and third point is whether there is any delay in transferring the amounts to investor protection, education and protection fund. Section 143, subsection 4. Duty to state the reason for qualification or negative report. Students, where any of the matters required to be included in the audit report is answered in negative or with a qualification. If I am qualifying the report, if I am stating whatever I am going to state in the audit report is negative, say, or it bears any qualification, report I will have to explain the reason therefore. So reason should to be given for qualification or negative reporting. Section 143, subsection 5, section 143, subsection 6 and subsection 7. Audit of government companies. First, I will explain to you section 143, subsection 5. This is C and AG of India shall appoint the auditor under subsection 5 of section 139. CAG of India shall appoint the auditor under subsection 5, 139.5. I explained to you in my second lectures or so. Section 139.5 is subsequent auditor in case of government companies, and subsection 7 is first auditor in case of government companies. Appointment of first auditor and the direct such auditor, the manner in which the accounts the manner in which the accounts of the company are required to be audited, and thereupon the auditor so appointed shall submit a copy of the audit report to CAG of India. CAG of India shall appoint the auditor and direct such auditor. CAG is going to direct the auditor the manner in which the accounts are required to be audited, and after audit, what CAG is suggesting, shall submit a copy of the audit report to the CAG of India, which include the directions, if any, issued by the, and copy of the report will include the directions issued by the CAG of India, the action taken thereon, and its impact on the accounts and financials. These are all things you need to be stated here. So this is section 143, subsection 5. I am explaining section 143(6) also. The CAG of India shall, within 60 days from the date of receipt of the audit report, shall have a right to conduct a supplementary audit of the financial statements of the company by such person or persons as may be he may authorize in this behalf, and for the purpose of such audit require information or additional information to be furnished. This is supplementary audit. Here itself it is explaining supplementary means additional. In addition to what the statutory auditor, a student was asking, what is supplementary audit? Supplementary means in addition to the statutory audit. CAG is conducting another audit. That is called supplementary audit. This is additional audit by another person other than chartered accountant, or he may be chartered accountant, whatsoever his qualification, or by his own staff it may be conducted. So conduct a supplementary audit of the financial statements by such. A supplementary audit is also in respect of financial statements of the company, and by such persons or persons as he may authorize in this behalf, and for the purpose of such audit require information or additional information to be furnished to any person or persons so authorized on such matters by such person or person, and in such form, and it will be, the form will be as suggested by the CAG of India. So this is, CAG is suggesting this supplementary audit. Comment upon or supplement such audit report. Any comments given by the CAG of India upon a supplement to the audit report shall be sent by the company to every person who is entitled to get the copies of audited financial statements. Means all persons who are entitled to get the copies, CAG comments will be circulated to all the stakeholders. This is what I mean to say. So CAG comments will be circulated to all the stakeholders. So students, yes, without prejudice to the provisions relating to audit and auditor, CAG of India may, in case of any company covered under subsection 5, or means subsequent auditor and first auditor, if he considers necessary by an order, cause test audit to be conducted of the accounts of such company and the provisions of section 190. These are the CAG. Basically, CAG is ordering the test audit. So under the this is under the CAG's duties, powers, and conditions of services Act 1970 shall apply to the report of such test audit. Students, with this I just move to online queries, if any. Yes, Somya is asking, what are the auditing procedures in respect of capital redemption reserve and in issue of forfeited shares? Yes, students, these are already explained in chapter, in the, you can go through the chapter on this company audit 2 and practice manual. So if there is still any doubt, you may call on our given contact number. Yes, Kanaya Suman is asking, while answer in exam, it is necessary to underline key points. You may underline. This is your choice. Key points you may underline. Somya Murli is asking, is there a separate discussion for standards on auditing? Yes, I will be discussing in the next lecture itself. No, you should not treat it as most difficult. Like I am explaining to you how to study company audit, in the similar manner you can start your study on essays, but in a lighter manner. Not learning, you just go through the essays in such a manner that you are able to reproduce 30 to 40%. So entire learning is not, entire learning you may not be there, because it is difficult to do the entire learning of the essays. So you should study essays in such a manner that you are able to reproduce 40%, 30, 40, 50%, up to 50% of the matter contained therein. Monica is asking, supplementary audit covers all areas as in statutory audit. This is, you see, this audit is basically test audit, supplementary audit, this CAG is. So the format and each and everything is being given by the CAG of India itself. If I now ask you what is credit audit, so credit audit is being done by so many banks. So many banks are conducting a credit audit from the chartered accountants, like concurrent audit. So these are their prerogative. So this is the prerogative of the CAG of India, supplementary audit and test audit. You need not go into details. If you, this is not your prerogative. Company audit, CAG has got the power to conduct those audits. You should, this is enough for you to remember. So difference again, you should refer the CAG Act itself. What is the difference between qualified opinion and adverse opinion? So this is very much explained in essay 700 series, 700, 705 you should study. You will come to know the difference, qualified opinion and adverse opinion. Yes, Soumya Murli is asking, the answers given in practice manual are increasingly complex. Are there marks given for the terms used? If the answers are complex, I am suggesting you to prepare brief notes in your own language. Just go through those answers and convert them. If you find, although they are, in my opinion, these are not complex. This is for, we have written these suggested answers for you only, keeping in view you students. So if you find those 1 or 2, 3, 4 lines complex, you may convert those lines in your own language. Yes, Soumya Murli is asking, brief the amendments that have come into effect for the May 2016 examination. So you should refer the institute website. I have already explained in today's lecture also that essays up to 720 will be appearing. Caro is very much applicable, and all amendments which are up to 31st October would be relevant for your examination. You should also, students, it is very important, you should also refer RTP. We have given the entire amendments in RTP. You should refer RTP. Yes, with these words, I just put an end to my lecture. Thank you very much, students, for patiently listening. Thank you very much. If there is any further doubts, you may contact us on 0120304595. This is our contact number. And also you may send us the mails on these IDs: rajeev.sachdeva@ici.in, karuna.bansali@ici.in. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, students.